Hello, this is Edouard from BricksNative, and in this video I'm going to just go through the BricksNative framework. I'm just going to give an overview. I took my time to actually available options that we have. So starting from the theme styles, as you guys know, I'm currently converting the custom CSS patterns to the BricksNative framework. So, which means that the custom CSS that you have now will obviously work because it's custom CSS. To the Bricks will also work due to the fact that I'm using fallbacks within the variables. And I'm also trying to apply them to the same Bricks framework, although obviously for spacings and colors. But I would recommend everybody to obviously import the BricksNative frameworks that I will be releasing soon. It will be, you can find it in your account. This is only for those that have the CSS framework, obviously. I do a framework that I created publicly. So I mean public. So I will be soon. First of all, let's just look at this overview. So starting with general here, you see we have the site background here, and you see that we have the variable in place. This will be quite short because I just want to go through it real quick. I have you can see all the variables that I created, the colors that have been put in the right place. So I don't have any muted colors. I don't have any full success colors. Obviously I could create those, or you can create it for yourself if you need them. Links is just basic selectors that apply this link color to, which I've created too. And then we have our typography, we have our body, text dark, text M. What else we got here? We have our heading dark, and I also apply them to all the H1s. We have our focus outline variables here. So all this stuff they're all customizable, and you can tweak them in your variables panel. Your section comes with a variable, so all sections will automatically have this padding. There's the gutter and the section space M. The variables that I created are a mix of automatic CSS, core framework, and the AT framework. So whatever I found worked best, or the naming structure, whatever, I just applied to the context that it's living in. So here we have container, which has a max width, content width. What else we got? And the buttons. All buttons have been styled, so you can just use the native Bricks button element to style your buttons. But all buttons, you can also create custom buttons, because all buttons, all the different kinds of properties that to create the buttons, they all have variables, which I'll also show you soon. So let's just look at let's start from beneath, start with spacing. As you can see, I've created here spacing scale here. So it goes from 4x to 4XL. So this is what core framework uses. AT also uses the same thing. So I have them here. Automatic CSS only goes from XS to 2XL, but it's then XXL. So that's the range that they got. And if you want other ranges, you can just use the calc function, which is super easy to use in if you're using automatic CSS. In other frameworks, you have to actually write as you just write this part, right? You just do divided by 2 or 3, and then it automatically showcases the calc function, which is a feature I really like from automatic CSS. And we have our section spaces. So these are specifically for the section, and I don't actually use them anywhere else, only on sections. So you have these. We have our heading, which runs from H6 to H1. Yeah, I did not generate no utility classes, because I use utility classes sparingly. I only use utility classes on links, right? So I have like a link white. So if the background is dark, so I have a link white, and I have like if I want to make my cards clickable, I also have a variable for that. Or if I have not even like list items, I don't have that. So everything I almost use no utility classes, just variables and coded CSS. So body text is also runs from 2x to 4XL. So once this is released, if you're going to use it for yourself, you can tweak things the way you like, right? You can change the base steps, the scaling type, you can change the base font sizes, all. If you just change it to automatically adapt to the patterns. So we have our colors. Colors are also setting. So before I used to this is how it looked. I just had the different colors, which you see it's all over the place. Now we have the BricksNative frameworks, and I can just put in my colors that I need. So these are just the way automatic CSS has it set up. We have a primary, secondary, tertiary, base, neutral, accent, white. We have a black. We have a danger, info, warning, success. So mostly base is used for backgrounds, and neutral I use it for text colors, and primary I use for like buttons, links, etc. And if you have other colors, you can find a way to use that. Maybe you can also use that for backgrounds, whatever, but depends on your product that you are working on. And as you can see, if we click on edit, I enable dark mode. So in this case, primary is just dark, and this is the way it has been set up. You might have, I looked at the base setting of Bricks, the BricksNative framework, how it generates the dark shades, and I didn't really like it though. I had to do some tweaks. I actually did it here on the base. I really made some tweaks here, because when flipping to dark mode, let's say you had this light color. I think here you can see it best on the primary. If you have like this is a light mode, right? So if you choose this color, if I have like a primary L10, if I switch to dark, it's also white. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. So I just did some tweaks, and obviously this goes to dark, and I might do some tweaks also on the dark. I don't like how it does the dark too, because it's too tight. It runs from 5% to 0%. So I might change this percentage a bit. Obviously it's all based on my base, the color I chose, right? So I think making this a little bit lighter would maybe help improve the way it's dividing the colors over the whole steps. But anyways, let's move on. So the next thing is the variables. So your variables have been distributed over different categories. We have our heading typography. We have our heading colors. So we have dark, we have white, we have ultralight, light, semi-light. So in my findings when I've been designing in Figma, or when I'm working through the Figma file, so I've noticed that some projects may require your heading to have more than darker color, or it might be dark, let's say a dark gray color or a white color. Or sometimes you might want a color in between, or you might if you want a color that's even in between, depending on what you're building, right? So that's why I came up with this idea, which is also translated in the Figma UI kit. So we have more options. So you have a dark text typography, a dark body text colors is also here. We have our background colors. So now you have different background colors, which are all mapped to variables, as you can see, right? They're all mapped to the variables here. All can be tweaked. You can change it the way you like. Here you can change it the way you like. These are all generated through the typography panel. Colors are all mapped to variables. So if we move on, this is also the same thing. All clamp functions here, all generated by on the spacing panel. Section spacing is the same way. I only added the gutter manually, which is mapped to the section space as variable. So this is the spaces your sections will have on the left and right side. Contextual spacing added. We have a container gap, a content gap, a grid gap, and a card gap, which have a specific map to a specific variable. And I also added the fallback here. So a radius. Some people I see they generate the radius also through the, is it spacing? Yeah, through the spacing panel, right? So there's like different steps or a scaling in the radius, but I don't like my radius is to scale. I want my radius to be fixed. So I set it up this way. If you don't like this, you can set it up through the spacing panel, right? It's all up to you, the way you want to work. So I like my fixed. So that's why I set it up this way. Box shadow. Same thing. I set this up myself. So we have all the different shades here. See, I still need to make a tweak here because I wanted to map it to variables instead of using the RGB function here. So I have to tweak these. site width. So we have a content width, we have a different widths, which are all based on the content width, or it's what is it there? What am I trying to say? Yeah, so as you can see, let's say if you want 90% of the width, it's based on the content width and it's times 0.9, right? So that's how you get the different widths. We're getting SM also in t-shirt sizes. So we have an XS, SML, XL, 2XL. So I don't have like 3XL, 4XL, whatever, which I could have created, but this is enough, right? So these help to also put certain content that you're creating in a certain width. We have our grids, it runs from 1 to 12, and we also have the 1-2 grids, 3-2, 2-3, all set here. We don't have any auto. I don't have any auto grids. Contextual radius is also here. So radius specific for image, for specific for cards, specific for buttons. You can all find them here. Links, we have our link color, we have our link hover, active, all here. Transition, also here durations. So different durations I can choose from. I also have them here. Borders are set. So we have a light border, semi-light border, dark border, and a white border. Because I use these a lot. So I have a lighter color, a color in between, a darker color, and white. Buttons. Like I said before, we have different variables to set up the different properties of your button. So from the radius to the width, to the shadows, to the transition, to the outline, well, all here, right? So as you can see, your primary, we have a color, background, border. So you can create buttons outside of the buttons that we have available in Bricks, right? So if you want to create specific kind of button or your own custom button, you can do that. And it's just the same. It just goes for the secondary, the light, the dark, and we have the different sizes too, as you can see. And we have your alley here, some outline, color, width, and offset. So for me, this is a basic CSS framework I can work with. In Bricks, it works well. And I want to actually show you guys, let me see, what do I have here? We have our classes framework. Oh, yeah. So if I want to, or when I want to export this, I'll export the theme styles, because you need to make sure that the variables are mapped correctly. So I've already set it all here for you. Your variables I will export, and that's it based in the colors here. The colors, I think, yeah, import, you can export to. I export the colors. So the theme styles, the variables, and your colors will be exported. And as for typography, these you cannot move. So there will be, I think, once the variables are in, it will show here. And classes I'm not exporting because you don't need these. And if there are any specific classes, like I said, like your link, I have a link class for on a dark background, right, which makes the text white. Once you import the template, it will obviously ask you if you want to import it. So it's best to import it, right? I have automatic CSS here. Oh, I know why. I have imported, I think, a block from automatic CSS in the past, so funny that it categorized it itself. Anyways, so that's it for the overview. I've not really shown like how to build it, because that would be out to make like that would be a longer video, and I think there are some videos out there that people have created that really takes you through the process, but it's actually pretty straightforward. It just takes some time to creating your spacing, typography, this might be fast. Maybe your colors, this might go fast, setting them up. But once it comes to other stuff, like contextual stuff, or the grids, maybe line heights. I think I still need to create a line height variables. I don't have those yet, so I might do that too. But anyways, this is the overview. This is the first part, and now this is the second part. I'm just going to save. I'm going to actually build something. So let's build something with the variables that we have available to us. I'm going to be building this. This is one of the new patterns that I'm making, so might as well just jump into it. So let's start from the beginning. So I just need a section. I'm just going to call this call to action. This is going to be a call to action section. way, I'll just call it call to action 34. So there we go. This is a container. So as from this example, this is a container, and this will be a block, this will be another block, and in this block there'll be a image, and in this side there will just be a heading, and text, and a custom button that I'll need to create. So let's just put in the structure. So I need 2 blocks. So this one will be content, and this block will be media, and in this media file, this media element, I'll add an image, and the content I will be adding the heading. We need the text, and I also need another block which will, in this case, since to just be a block. I was thinking if I should make it a div, because the block obviously spans over the whole section because it's set to a width 100%. When it comes to a button, I don't want it to always stretch, but that means I'll have to control it through other means. You know what? I'll just create a block out of it, and then in that block, I'll make the button, put the button in a div. So this will be my CTA button. And then what I will do is, you know, that I remove this number, just make it a random. I'm not add any numbers to it. So in this CTA button, I just need a text, not a link. I just need the text, and I need another div which will house the icon and the icon itself, which we put into that. This will be called icon wrapper, and this will be the footer, because maybe in the future, if you're using a block like this, you have to think of other people using this, right? In the sense of, if you just add a heading, a text, and a button, and then obviously you need to wrap this in a div or a block, because you want to separate these, right? You want to space this. You can do spacing around, right? Where you ensure that this content always stays on top and this is pushed to the bottom. But if you make it single items, elements, well, you cannot do that. So you need to obviously group these, and then you have then 2 items. You have like a top or intro section here, or sorry, an intro element which has the heading element and the text element, and then you have a button. But let's say you want to add, in the future, you want to add a text underneath, or like some meta copy or something, right? You can do that now, because if you introduce that new element, this button will be moved to the middle. I'm not going to showcase all that now, but I'm just showing you the thinking behind when you're creating a pattern like this. You know, you have to think of different use cases outside of what you're just seeing. So now what we're going to do is, let me see, where am I at? I'll just call this label, because it can be anything. It's the button. This will be our custom button. I'm just going to call it, you know, just custom CTA button, right? So we all know that we have a footer in place, we have our heading, this needs to be wrapped in a block. I'll just call this intro. Could have called it intro or top or whatever. Just bring this to text, and then let me just copy these text into it. The goal of this exercise is just to show you how, obviously how I build this pattern, but also show you how I'm going to use the variables that we have to our disposal. Give this a HTML tag, don't forget that. I think the label also needs, just put this to span, and also obviously set this to figure. Save again. I'm gonna then now start applying the classes. So this will just be, just normally use the BM prefix. I just call this CTA. Oh, no, I'll just write that out. Call to action. Call to action. Since I already have examples of that, I just call it CTA. Let's call it CTA, something around CTA X. That X doesn't mean anything. The reason why I'm doing it is because this is actually the development website, so I don't want to add classes that will conflict later. That's why I'm just thinking of a name. After this video, I will most likely delete this pattern because I've already created this pattern, right? So I'm just making it for example purposes. Container, let's just start adding the classes. Obviously, if you have advanced theme or some BM generator, you could have used that too. I'm just doing it manually. Just add this intro, heading, This is the text, and this will be the footer. Now, since your button that I'm creating, this will be a separate component, so I cannot just give it the same name. So I just have to give it like it's a custom CTA. You cannot then continue that BAM style process. So this is a different component because I can use this on other. I can even go far as to do this because I have to think of using this on other patterns, not only specific on this call to action pattern. What is it doing now? This doesn't exist, right? There we go. Okay, it's set in. Let's put in the label. Let's put in the icon. This will be icon wrapper. And then we have the icon. Okay, almost done. Just add the media, adding the image. Okay, just gonna pick an image from the list, something nice. What can we do? Something like this. And then set the object fit to cover. Set the image to 100%, and also the height to 100%. I obviously have to give it an aspect ratio. So this look like 1 by 1. No, let's try 1 by 1. It could also be 4:3. I don't know yet. Just to ensure that if you add an image, it doesn't just break out of its container, right? So we're just giving it an aspect ratio it can live in. Let me just save at this point, and now we can actually get to some styling because we've now given all our elements classes. So from the top, we need to go to the container, and the container needs a grid. As you can see here, it needs a grid. So we add the grid gap to it. Here we need a grid. I think this is like 3 by 2, right? Or is it 2 by 1? I think it's 2 by 1. Yeah, I think it's 3 by 2 then. Approximately. I think maybe is the container. Maybe the container might be a bit longer here. Anyways, let's continue. Your media, custom media, I'm going to flip it. So I'll flip the order. So make sure this comes here. Yes, I think it makes sense. Yes. So on your container, we need to give it some padding. See, I think let's start with space M. See how that looks like. I think it's not good enough. Excel. Yeah, that's better. Link it all around, link all the sides. And then normally I will add like I said, I add a fallback. So this is, let's say this is about 4M, something like that. So if you do not have, if this space Excel is not defined, it will fall back to 4M. So the layout won't break. But I think I'll give it a L. I think it's a little bit, yeah, I think it's good. Okay, let's leave it at that. Let's go on to the border. Go to the border, and I need a radius of, I think, M. Then give it also a fallback. I think, well, 2.4 is a bit large, so let's keep it at 1. Let's link everything, and look at, I think it's way too big. Let's bring this back to S. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, let's give it a background. So just do BG, and then give it a background of body. And here we also add the fallback. Okay, that's white. And on the section, I forgot to give this a background of ultralight. Here I also need a fallback, which is ED. So yes, I do not know these hex numbers from memory. I've just been doing this a lot, so I know that this is a light color, and I use it a lot on this site. So don't think that I like memorize the whole hex table. Yeah, so we have this set. Let me see. This should also get some padding, space, I think this is just space M all around, and just give it fallback. Background, this should be dark. So I have a BG body reverse. So BG body is the variable BG body, background body is white, and the variable background body reverse is dark, right? But I also have a BG dark, which is linked to the base color, which is not all the way dark. So I could also use this one. So both I could have used, but I'm using the darker version. Okay, so we now go to intro, where we need a content gap, which is set. And here I can choose to add a body white to it, text white, which I need to add a fallback to. As you can see, it does not affect the title. So then the on the heading, I need to also give it a heading white. So it's all set now. But this should be a H2. See, I think the padding is much larger. So I need to go back. I think let's try Excel. Mind you, this is built on, this is automatic CSS, so the values are a little bit, so it might look a little bit different. I'll just bump this to 3.2 to be sure. Okay, this also needs, they both need a radius. So we need to go here, just write radius and just set it at S. One rem. Link all sides. I'm just going to copy this. You might notice that there's some delay on the when I'm writing in variables, but that's just because I have like so many classes that have been created that sometimes building these patterns can be frustrating sometimes, because it's not really snappy, because there are like a lot of it's just slow due to the amount of classes that is on this build. So if you, just to show you real quick, look, I have almost 10,000 classes, almost 9,500, right? So, and it's only growing, so it's just slowing down things. So if you don't have that much, you might not even experience it. If you just have like 100 classes or maybe 150, it might be snappy and quick. But once you get up to those numbers, it's pretty much, gets slow. Need a clip here. So visibility overflow clip. What's going on here? I will need to put it on the. Wait, is it because I added it here? Oh, my bad. I mean, I need to add it here. I was on the wrong element. So it's clipped now. Let me just view this on the front. I think there's a height thing going on here. Let's just inspect. Height might not be on the image, or let me just figure out where it is. Okay, on the content. Okay, I can't see any height. So is it a switch it out. I'm missing something. Main height. Okay. So it's on the container. Added a main height here. So I'm just gonna copy that. Let me see. Do I change? Does it change? When is it? Okay. Set. Okay. Okay. See, so on the container, it was at 720. So I'm just gonna put it on the main height, 720. So there we go. And reason why I did that is to also make sure that the button is further away from the top text, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we can focus on our custom button. Wait, let me just push this down, this content. So let's go to our flex controls and say space between. Here it is. That's actually all we need to do. I'm just going to apply some content gap for once we get to the lower breakpoints. So there's already have a gap. Let's see what we're going to do here. So for our container, our custom button, it needs to be white. So let's see what we have here. As if I go for our border, do I have any border? No, why am I saying border? Sorry, background. But then for the button background. So we need this one so that it's mapped correctly. So we want to create a white background, so I need this. And let's see for the, oh, by the way, for the label, let me just copy this. This, and this should be a custom URL, and this should be tell, and then remove this. Yeah, open a new, no, it's not necessary. Okay, so we have this set up. This should be set to flex. Yep. Should not wrap. It should not, but it should not center in the middle. I want space between. Yeah. And the label text should be way smaller. So I'm going to set this to text S, which is maybe around like 1.2 RAM or something as a fallback. So we need some space between the buttons. I want this to stretch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is on the custom footer, like I said before, I don't want the button to be 100%, which I could do. But then if I want to use it somewhere else and I want the button to have a normal width, or just like a, what is that called, a max content, so where it just hogs the content, right? I have to tweak the button again and then to be changed everywhere. But I want, so in this case, I want the parent to control if the button is stretched or not. So I could put stretch here, right, which will stretch out the button, which I'm going to do. But first things, I need to make sure that it looks good when it's in its normal state. So I think I need a content gap here. Just to be sure, content gap. So we have a gap, cool. Let's go to the icon. I'm just gonna set this back to like 16 pixels, very small. I need the phone. I need a phone. Or what is it? Yeah. So this one we have the call, and the background is dark for the icon. So let's set that to PG dark. That's cool. And our icon should be set to white. So I'm just going to give it a body white color. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there we have it. And then I need to just, let me see what I did here. On the, on the icon wrapper. Okay, I just added the width. So the width is 32 pixels. The height is also 32 pixels. There's no padding involved. It is set to flex and then centered, so that it's in the middle. And it needs a border radius of full, so circle. So we have a circle, and also set a fallback of 999 rem. And we link it, and then we have our circle. And now for the button itself, I need to look, what kind of spacing does it have on the button itself? And pixels. Okay, so 8, the left 24. Okay, let's go back to the build. On our button, we need 8 pixels here, 8 pixels here, 8 pixels here, and I added 24 pixels on the left side so that there's more spacing here, and that this, so that you see how this end is curvy like a circle. It just fits within the icon, right? If I added the same 24 pixels here, it will look out of place. So that's the reason why there's more space on the left than on the right. So I think, where did I apply the radius? What's going on here? So, oh, I needed also on the button. I got confused there. So here we go. Put it in there, and you see, beautiful. Okay, so now the last touch, we have our custom button now, right? So we need to ensure that this button is obviously clickable, right? So let me see if there's any kind of hover involved. Something happened. I think it gets like a border. Something is going on. I'm not going to do too much. I just want to, like I said, it's just to showcase how we're using the different variables. So in this case, there's a URL on it. I need this to be a clickable parent. So I'm just going to write a little bit of CSS here. So root is, we're going to use the not, it's not A. And then we're going to target the after. And this is where we're going to add and ensure that the whole card is clickable. But first things first, I need to make sure that the card itself is set to relative so that the link fills the whole card. Let's go back to our label and let's start adding content. It's empty, position should be absolute. Inset should be set to 0. Inset meaning that it should hug all the sides of the whole button. As you can see how slow this is going. So this is something that I need to torture, right? Every time I do this. It is what it is. Let's say if I count all the times that it stops like that, maybe if I'm building a pattern, okay, maybe I lose a minute or two, which is actually a lot, to be honest. If I'm building a lot of patterns in one setting, right? It's actually frustrating because you just want to continue, you want to write. Splitting this up, going to create another dev server is just not something I can do because most people are connected to this specific server, so that'll just be not something that is possible. It is what it is. Okay, let's continue. So this is set to inset. I need the cursor to be a pointer. I made a typo. Pointer. Here we go. What else? I need this Z index to be set to 1. And I think that's about it. Let's see if it works. There we go. Yes, you can see the whole card is clickable, right? Wait, guys. No, it's not. Let's see if I forgot something. Position absolute. Yes. This is set to relative. Yes. Everything is set in place. Okay, let me check again on the front. Let's see where it's going wrong. Maybe I'm forgetting something again. Wait, let me dive and reload this. I can see my before pseudo element. Okay, we don't want A. Okay, so it's a link. Okay, this. Okay, that is weird. put this thing down here. I can see my pseudo element. And this is always a point where if I'm missing something, but I can't see it. Did I make a typo, or why is it not showing? I cannot even see my. Let's see what is going wrong. Root. Did I write anything wrong? Okay, so I think I found out what the issue is. Normally I put this to make sure that the card is clickable. Normally I put it on a heading, and the heading will, if you set the custom link to if you make it a link, the heading, it will then have like your H1 tag, and in the H1 tag to have a link element, right? So the A element, right? So in this case, the way I set up this, the way I'm putting this selector, it won't work, right? Because it's selecting this class which is already in a link element, as you can see. So I need to set it up differently, whereas I need to remove all these and do it this way. So doing it this way will fix the issue. So once it reloads, as you can see, now we have our after pseudo element right there where we wanted it to be. So now, once you stand over it, as you can see, everywhere I stand, it's a link. So that is, so that works. Okay, move on to the next. Now, what we want to do is stretch the button. So we go back to our content and we set it to stretch, as I said before. And now we have what we want. So now I can go back, and there it is. So maybe let me just add a quick hover because it's just fun to do. So on the button, we say, because I have a background which is set to button light, I will have to do something else with that. Do I have any colors at the moment? Let me see on our colors. Yes, I have secondary territory. So what I could do is make it like, I don't know. I don't really like this color. Let's just give it a warning. Yeah, warning might work. So we go to our root. We just say, maybe give it a transition first. Transition. Oh, this is fun. I can use my duration as. Let me just search for it real quick. Where is it? Duration. Duration should be fast. I want it to be fast, so I should go for duration. Yeah. So let's go back to what we're doing. So I say var duration. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to add. Let me see, duration. Oh, I added it. Sorry, I thought I forgot to add the seconds to it. I don't know why. Well, anyways, duration and then ease, right? That's all we got there. And then we say root. We hover on our hover state at ground color should be var, and then we say warning. And there you have it. So now, boom, here we go. And I could also say on the hover, we want the root label color to change to. So we set the color to var body text white. Awesome. And we could do the same. We could change this. We could change it, right? Let me see. I set this to slow. Or medium. Yeah. Save it. Cool. It works. It works. Somehow I don't like this image. I don't know. Just change the image up. And now we need to do the responsive thing. So this still kind of works, but I'm just going to flip it here. So I want the I'm just going to flip it to set this to one column. Here we go. There you go. That's basically it. And like I said before, I already added the content tab here, so now the space. If I didn't, it will just squish together. One more thing you might want to add to your custom button might be like when someone is just tabbing through your content. So you want it to also hover. So we set this to say focus within, and then we also do the same thing here. We'll set this to focus within. So what we get is the following. So set this to focus within. And now, once you just see that tabbing through, once it hits that, boom, there you go. So now that works too. And yeah, we've come to the end. That I have to my disposal, so not like links and everything, but I would need to create like an overview of all the variables obviously used on the page. So the headings, you can see the buttons, the text, the links, so you can just see full display. You can also you'll be able to change the variables, the values of the variables, and then see the change displayed on the front end, something like that. So I need to create like a visual styling example that you can see. But as for now, we created the pattern. Here it is. Here it is for you to see. Works well. And yeah, hope this was a educational video. To end it off, I'm going to add the framework to the free version of Maven. So if you grab the free version, it will be available. So by the time once you see this video, it will be available and you can grab it for yourself. Thanks for watching. If you watch it then, thank you so much. Hope you learned a lot. If you like it, please like the video and leave a comment behind if you actually learned something, or if you find that things could be different, or if I missed anything also in the CSS framework, you missed anything, please let me know. Have a nice day and see you guys soon again. Bye bye.